but it's in our effort of engagement, particularly to get all the support of the key stakeholders on the multiple accounts where people have bought shares either in their own names but with different names. So for instance, Munir Haliru Gorzo, you also buy shares in the name of Munir Haliru. You probably also bought shares in the name of Munir Gorzo, which are all the same person, but it's also an offense because you both multiple application. A multiple application is not allowed. So there's also the incidence of people buying names in different, buying their own names and also completely in different names. And that gives them an undue advantage over other people that actually bought those shares in their own names. And that's why we have a huge quantum of multiple applications in the market. And we have a huge quantum of shares that you cannot even verify. And as a market, in our effort to tidy up our data, we set up a committee and they came with a recommendation by saying that for those that can actually come and justify that they're actually the bona fide shareholders of those shares, we've given them a forbearance from now to the end of December. They should come with concrete evidence, a KYC as provided by SEC under SEC rules and regulations, and once they can prove that, they should be able to claim those investments. For those that bought those shares in different names completely, certainly there's no KYC that can support it, so they will forfeit it completely. And the process we agree should go to the Market Development Fund. Now, it's important to carry the shareholders along. It's also important to carry the company secretaries because those shares were created by the company and those dividends were also paid by the company. So this meeting today looked at those issues and we're able to get some insights on the way forward. And we've incorporated members of the 2 or 3 members of the company secretary from different companies to also be members of that committee to do some finishing housekeeping exercise to make sure that all the loose ends are properly covered before end of this year. So it was very good. We also look at this issue of e-dividend. You know, we came up with a policy with the directives that by end of December, there shouldn't be any issuance of a dividend warrant. And this thing has been in this market for the last 20, 30 years, and we keep on postponing the date. But we are committed to seeing that by January next year, dividends should be sent electronically. It is better for the retail investor because we've realized that the large quantum of unclaimed dividend in this market emanate from those dividends that are not being claimed by the retail shareholders. The high net worth individual, the institutional investors certainly collect their dividends. It is the guy that is to collect 5,000, 7,000, 10,000 naira that is not able to do that. So we've also engaged them, tell them that they have to key in, and we also hear some of their concerns, and we have also allayed some of their fears. And that's why we have the NIPs and other stakeholders to also key into it. We also discussed this issue of penalties and trading of shares, you know, outside the floor of the exchange. The law mandates that no public company's shares should be traded outside a recognized exchange. So we also employ on the company secretaries, those whose shares are not listed on the exchange should also discuss with their counterparts, and they should not be supporting trading of shares outside a regulated exchange. And all of them agreed to it. So it was a very good meeting. For the multiple accounts, we also discussed about the issue of sending annual account electronically, because we've realized that 99% of shareholders, particularly retail shareholders, don't get their annual account prior to the AGM. And the essence of having an annual account is for you to read, digest that annual account, attend an AGM, and ask questions. Ask the directors questions to explain why have they expended so amount of money on social areas. And the only way you can do that is if you have time to look at those annual accounts. And like I said, 99% of those annual accounts are sent a month after the AGM. So we also had the discussions and look at the ways and means that those annual accounts can be sent electronically. We recognize that there could be some limitations. Some shareholders might not have an email. There could be a NEPA problem. There could be a network problem. So to alleviate that fear, we encourage shareholders to be registered with SEC. For now, we have data with respect to some shareholders associations for about 17. So we're giving them 2 weeks to tidy up the records. And if they do that, each company would now be mandated to supply some good number of copies to the shareholders associations, apart from sending it electronically. So if you cannot be able to access your annual account electronically, you should be able to go to the shareholders association, which are scattered all over the country, to have access to the annual account. So on one part, is there going to be a cost reduction for the company? And the more cost is being reduced by the company, the more the chances of paying better dividend to the shareholders. Two, it's also an advantage to the shareholder because that shareholder will be able to have access to those annual accounts. We've also told them that we've also mandated them to make sure that all annual accounts are also placed on their website. So once the account is being approved, it must be posted on their website so that shareholders can take time and read.
The Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Mr. Munir Gwazo. Before we go for our short break, let's quickly review the markets, and we'll start with the equity markets, where the bourse recorded a bullish week, which resulted in further weekly increase in twin market performance measures. NSE All-Share Index and market capitalization moved each by 207 basis points to 38,198.60, with a total market value of 13.17 trillion naira. Of the sectored gauges, the NSE Consumer Goods and the NSE Industrial Index increased by 971 basis points and 243 basis points. However, the NSE Banking Index and the NSE Insurance Index decreased by 0.94% and 3.02%. Meanwhile, total deals and transacted volumes fell week on week by 11.93% and 194.13% each. Over to the NASD OTC, which also closed the trading day higher on 11th of August this same year. We got the USI moving higher by 1.4% and closing the market capitalization at 412.80 billion naira against 407.75 billion naira in the previous session. The unlisted securities market index ended at 609.99 points as against 602.53 last Friday. Air Liquid PLC and Friesland Campina Wamco Nigeria PLC led the market by volume and value. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll focus on our discussion.